Has anyone ever worked really hard to change your mindset around something so that you could become maybe more productive, or so that you could move towards a new phase of your life or move into a new phase of your life? Anyone? Anyone? Me. Okay, so y'all, in my last video, I talked about the importance of the mindset shift that had to happen before I could begin rebuilding my life. Here's what I didn't realize. Y'all ready for this? What I didn't realize is that the shift, tip of the iceberg, it was just the beginning. So we're gonna put a pin in it there for a minute, because I want to take a moment to welcome anyone who's new to the channel. I am I am becoming her with Yvette. Yeah. So if this is your first time joining, yay, welcome. Just to kind of give yourself some proper context about what we're talking about, I would recommend that you go back and watch, I would say maybe the last 5 videos, because this is kind of like a sequential series, kind of builds on each other. Everything kind of builds on everything else. So you'll have a pretty good idea of what we're talking about. All right, let's jump on back in. Okay, so I was talking about how the mindset shift, when it happened, it was great. But what I realized next was that once the clarity, once it came about, something else showed up too. And it wasn't a surprise for me, but that something else was overwhelm, y'all. Oh my gosh. I was so overwhelmed with everything. And I'll tell you why. I was overwhelmed because as a W-2, someone who had been a W-2 employee all their life, you know, all I was expected to do was show up, do the work, and I got paid as long as I didn't do anything too egregiously wrong. Filled out my timesheet. I got paid every week, every 2 weeks, every month, or whatever it was. Entrepreneurship, it doesn't work that way. And for those of you that have made that pivot, you know what I'm talking about. And for those of you that are in this phase, you're about to join this, please let me know in the comments what making that shift or that pivot has been like for you. I'd really love to know. All right, so I was talking about how I was just overwhelmed with everything because there was so much that was new to me. Like I said, I went from just having predictability, stability, and now I have a learning curve that is super steep. I am learning, I've learned very quickly that in the phase of entrepreneurship, or as an entrepreneur, one of the things that is crucial is initiative. It is key. If I don't go out and fish and create opportunities for myself, I don't get paid. There's a lot of experimentation going on. I'm figuring out what works and what doesn't work. A lot of trial and error, and uncertainty. Let's not even talk about the uncertainty. Nothing is guaranteed. I feel like I'm literally throwing mud up against a wall and seeing what sticks. And what I'm realizing is that instead of being given a role to perform as I was as a W-2 employee, I'm now creating said role. And it's a lot to figure out. It's a lot to unpack. And it feels like there is no end to the amount that I am learning. I feel like I had almost reached a place of, I don't want to say complacency, but it was just, the familiarity of being able to show up in a space, know exactly what was required of you. You did it with aplomb, or maybe you did okay. And you reaped the benefits. You got the paycheck. You got the retirement and whatever else that went along with it. That's not the case for me now. So right now also, I want to get back to the overwhelm, because the mental load that, and I'm don't get me wrong, y'all. There's a part of me that is absolutely loving my life as it's unfolding. But I'm just being very transparent now. There's just so much that I didn't know going into this, and I'm discovering it now. As someone who is a recovering perfectionist, always wanting to make sure the T's were crossed, the I's dotted. As an entrepreneur, the decision fatigue is just through the roof. The mental load is sometimes just, like I said, also through the roof. I feel like I'm learning something new every single day. And if I'm being super honest, the pressure to rebuild financially is always front and center. And it drives so many of my decisions. And y'all do remember my old friend, I think her name is imposter syndrome. Yeah, y'all remember me talking about her? She's back, and she's back with a vengeance. She's taunting me, y'all. She's taunting me, and she's saying stuff like, who do you think you are? And what makes you think people are going to want to work with you? Who's going to take you seriously? She is taunting me all the time. And can I just say, I just don't like her. I wish she would get her own life, and just get up out of mine. But that's not the case. She's just here as long as I allow her to be here. It seems like every time I step into a new level of responsibility or visibility, she keeps throwing those questions at me. And I know I just need to build up like some sort of a witty comeback to just get her to back up off me. But here's something else that I'm starting to realize, y'all. Real truth. Reinvention, it sounds sexy, but really what I'm realizing is that it's not something that was meant to be comfortable. And whoever said that, they were lying. If anything, reinvention is supposed to stretch you, sort of like an accordion. Not necessarily break you, but stretch you. You know that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? It's pretty true. I feel like every day that muscle up here in my brain, it's getting stronger. The confidence is building more and more every day. What I'm also realizing is that the most important step in rebuilding is just never stopping, right? The fear, just because you have clarity about a direction that you want to take, it doesn't remove the fear. And I'm going to say this again, the clarity doesn't remove the fear. It just reminds you that you know what you need to do. You have the guidance of what you need to do, but the fear is still going to be there. You just have to start moving in spite of the fear, because the action to fear, or shall I say, the antidote to fear is action. You just have to keep moving. You don't always have to have all the answers. You just have to have the confidence that this is where you're supposed to be, and you have to remember your why, and you just have to keep moving forward just a little every day, right? So ladies, if you are navigating a season where your identity is shifting professionally, financially, personally, please know you are not alone. All right, I was still gonna say something else, but I'm gonna end it there. So, ladies, continue leaning into the woman that you are becoming. And if you really enjoyed today's content, even though I feel like I was all over the place, please feel free to like, comment, and by all means share with a friend, because we know that caring is sharing. Love y'all. Peace.